Welcome back, everyone. This is just going to be a quicker video, I think. We'll see, I guess. It is still about 15 degrees outside, so it is quite cold. And I'm going to try to take the master cylinder off. You can see the master cylinder here is extremely rusty, and I'm going to try to save it. They're not terribly expensive, but this is the original. So my plans are to get the lines unhooked and to get it into a vat of vinegar to derust the master cylinder, and then I will pull out the piston inside and see if the cylinder itself can be saved. If it needs to be honed out, I have a master cylinder hone. But first, we need to just find out if we can get this master cylinder unhooked. And then I can get it into the container of vinegar, which I will not be making the same mistake. The vinegar is inside the house, and that way it cannot freeze. But let's start by just getting this unhooked, and we will go from there. Now, I've already tried to take the main line off about 5 minutes ago with little success. So we're just going to escalate to heat. If my torch wants to light. There we go. Heat usually solves all problems. And what we are doing is I'm trying to get this line unhooked from that fitting. So what you usually do, as long as you have the space, is you want to heat up the female portion, whether it's a nut and bolt or a fitting or anything of that nature. The portion that you want to heat is the external portion around the fitting or bolt. So what I'm doing here is I'm going ahead and just trying to heat this up a little bit. Must be getting a little bit low on propane in this tank. And hopefully then I can get my line wrench on here. As you can see, line wrench is almost complete, just like a regular wrench is, except it has a little portion taken out of it. That way you can fit around lines to get to the fittings that you need to get to. Wrong side. No, that is not wanting to turn, and I don't want to round the line off. I don't want to have to make more lines. Of course, I probably will end up in making new lines anyway, because that's just usually how it goes on these older vehicles. Once the lines get too rusty and they round off and they don't work anymore, then you get to make new lines. Okay, well, I must be getting a little low on propane here, because I am unable to make the flame any hotter. So, let's just give it a minute here. Let's try it again. Maybe try this. Oh, of course, that one. Oh, wait a minute. Is that one not a 7/16? Sure should be. Damn. This is the problem with working on these old lines, is they don't really want to come off all the time. I know you guys are wondering, well, you just had a line wrench in your hand. Why are you using a slip joint now? Well, I suppose I could go get one out of my toolbox, but I don't want to walk over there. So I will see if this well, we got it to move. However, a little concerned about the line itself now, because I see it turning. But I really wanted, yeah, and there it goes. Broke the line in half. Well, I guess we don't need to worry about that line coming up. Sometimes that's the way things happen. Thankfully, it's a short line. Just bend myself up a new one of those. I'm wondering about this master cylinder anyway, whether it should just be replaced, because there should be a bench bleed valve right here and there's not. So I'm assuming this is probably the original before they added that valve. But anyways, I mean, this is just kind of a science experiment right now, considering the fact that it's still cold out and I'm still not out here working on the car just yet. But I see we still have a couple lines further down here. Don't know if they're going to come out either. Oh boy, they do not want to come off. Holy buckets. And I don't want to cut them. I really don't. I'd really rather not have to deal with anything. I mean, the metering block here is down under this. I'll. It's easy to make the short lines on that. Of course, if you can get the metering block off. Now, metering block. So with the master cylinder, you fill up your brake fluid in the master cylinder. When you press your brake pedal, the brake fluid comes out into the brake lines and goes down into a metering block, which then diverts it out to your four wheels. And I can see the metering block down below. And I'm hoping the metering block is not as rusty. I suppose it is possible. If I can get that out and this out and put it into the container of vinegar and just let the vinegar do its thing for a few days, these should come out like they are factory new, with all the rust completely dissolved off of them. So, not the easiest. I wonder, maybe try to get this off of here. That way I have better access. And that way I have better access to those front lines. Now, this is the top of the shock here and the rubber bushing. The shock plate below that is another rubber bushing, and then there's the top of the shock. As you can see, turn the bushing, and the shock stud turns with it. That's why they make this shock stud at the top of the shocks flat, so you can put a wrench on it like that while you're undoing the nut. Now, like I said, I don't really feel like walking around my toolbox, so I'm going to try to do this the lazy man's way. And just, if I have to, I'll go get some tools. But if I don't have to, that's all the better. Ooh. And boy, I guess that's the way it's going to be, huh? Okay. Well, I will go get me some tools. Well, let's see here. What do I even... I wonder. Alright, well, I got that. But I don't have the big vice grips. Let's see if I can do it with the little ones. Speaking of vice grips, there's a good channel on YouTube that does car restorations, if you want to call it. They go out and they look for cars that have been sitting out for 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years and go out and try and get them started. And it's another good channel called Vice Grip Garage. If you want to give them a check, see what they're like. I like watching their channel. And I am going to have to get a bigger vice grips. I will be right back. Alright, folks, I'm back. Yeah, go ahead and give their channel a heads up. Give their channel a look. Because I sure do enjoy watching them. And I bet you will too. That was Vice Grip Garage. Well, I can't wait for these temperatures to warm up some. Because I sure would like to. Oh. Well, it wants to. I sure would like to be able to take the walls of this canopy down. So I can have a little more room to work out here. I'm going to try doing this without burning that nut or the rubber bushing, because although these can be replaced, if they're still in good working order, there's really no reason to do that. Bit of a bubble right there. I guess the closest I'm going to do is just to be able to try to heat up the base of this shaft some. Just burn some of this rust out of here without burning the rubber. We are expecting a warm up here, so we're supposed to get into the low to mid 30s. For February, that's like spring here in Minnesota. Like the nuts heating up pretty good. Wow. Wow. I can see the nut turning. I can see it flexing around just like that. But it doesn't want to come off any further. That's amazing. Oh, you little turd. Alright. There's actually 2 nuts here I'm seeing. So, the first nut is actually just kind of a little tin nut they used to use a lot. And that tin nut is just used to try to Okay, take 2. My phone just decided that it wanted to give up on its other camera. So I'm gonna use my original camera, which I don't like. Okay, so back to where we were. We're trying to get this shock mount loose so the stabilizer can come off, so I can have access to the front of that, so I can try to get this master cylinder off the brake booster and bring it inside and soak it in vinegar. All for just a simple science experiment to see if I want to keep or buy another one. And since the shock stud tip broke off, I can no longer get a grip to take that off. And so I was gonna use my Sawzall. But you know what, guys? I thought, it's beginning of February, it's cold, why not just do things backwards? So I thought, that's a good idea. I like doing that. I like doing things backwards. Couldn't find my Sawzall anyway, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So we are going to try to take my angled cutter here and go through that. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what kind of idiot is going to do something like that? Well, I'm that idiot. So let's learn together, shall we? Why don't you comment below if you think this is going to work or not. So let's see. Wow. You know what? For those of you that said it wasn't going to cut, you are right. I got a little bitty nick. I mean, I could probably do the same thing with a screwdriver. So, we used up plan A, which was to take that stud and get that nut off. We used up plan B to try to cut that chrome steel with a tool that was not made to cut that chrome steel. So, I really don't know what to say right now. I guess what I should say, maybe instead of being the lazy idiot I am today on a Sunday, let's turn on the barn lights so I can take a gander and see if I can find my Sawzall. Now, there is one tool that I have that'll cut clear through that like butter. The problem is it creates so many sparks, I don't want to start the whole damn thing on fire. And that would be my high-speed grinder with my cutting wheel on it. And there would be sparks everywhere and fuel everywhere and dry cloth everywhere, and eventually the car would just catch a blaze and burn my whole barn down. So unless that becomes the final option, let's see if I can find my Sawzall. Be right back. Alright, guys and girls, I got a 2-for-1 there. I found my Sawzall. You know, when you put your tools where they're supposed to be, sometimes you don't find them because you don't remember, hey, my tool is where it's supposed to be. And that's where it was, hanging on the wall. So, we have a Sawzall with a nice shiny toothy blade that's going to cut right through that. Lock it in there like so. And we just take this long black cord thing here and find the other end of this thing where this thing plugs into that thing. Like so. Oh yeah, I mentioned a 2-for-1. I found a tripod, a camera tripod. I've been having problems with squirrels on my bird feeder. And I found that I could just dispatch them with prejudice with my pellet gun from inside the house. And that camera tripod will help me get a much more stable, clearer shot. All right. So, let's go ahead and... Ooh, that takes a lot of power. See that? Flicker, flicker, light flicker. Okay. Now we are just going to cut this darn thing in two and go from there. It's just a wild and wacky Saturday. Oh, sorry. Put on your earplugs. It's gonna get a little loud for a bit. And there we go. Welcome back, folks. Can you hear? Can you still hear? I can hear. That's good. Well, this bushing is in very, very good shape, if I do say so myself, and I do. So now I can get this top plate off. Shake that off of there, and well, this bushing down here is in very good shape too. And it's got a Ford part number, so these are original. I'm going to take this and put it in the dip bath too. Got to take the bushing off first though, because I want the rust to eat the steel. Or I want the rust to eat the steel. Yeah, rust eats steel, alright. I want the vinegar to eat the rust and not the rubber. And down here we have a horrible crappy shock that no longer works. And that will be replaced at a later date. But of course, you know, unless you like that kind of bouncy ride, though, it goes up and down and never stops while you're wallowing down the road at 60. Kind of a interesting experience. I've done that before. Okay, well, like I said before, I'm not a fan of having to make all new lines everywhere. But if that's what it's going to take, I mean, I suppose that's what it's going to take. Let's try to see where all this crap is going. That's power steering. And that line goes down. Is that the line that goes down into the fender here? By George, it sure looks like it. Ooh. Oh yeah, she's got a little bit of metal work, I can see that. But, hey, that's nothing too awful bad. But it looks like some idiot took out the fender skirt, which is what caused this problem in the first place. So, lines I can remake, but it sure would be a lot nicer if they would just come off. Let's try this one. And if I can't do it, well, I guess I'm just going to break them. Because I'm not going to sit out here when it's this darn cold out, hoping upon hope for these things to come apart. Oh, I heard that. Did you guys hear that pop? That pop. Of course, now I can't get my wrench off. Get off of there. Give me my wrench back. I don't think you guys can see it, but that little pop snap you heard, that was the line breaking tree. So at least this one is salvaged currently. Of course, now I can't get a wrench on it to unscrew it. But that's just the way things go sometimes, I guess. Get my fat head down here so you guys can watch me try to get this line undone. Oh, and in my past few videos, you guys might have all seen me wearing the same thing. Well, that's work clothes. And up here in Minnesota, work clothes in the winter is whatever keeps you warm. So I have a nice big jacket that I'm wearing. I have a nice hefty flannel that I wear under that, and a shirt that I wear under that. And that is why you haven't seen me wear anything different since I started the channel, because when I started the channel, it was winter. You know what? It's still winter. It's like winter up here half the year. So, you know, I used to love this state. But I'll tell you right now, Minnesota, not a great state to live in. You know, it's one thing to have to put up with the cold. And you know, sometimes we can do that. We can put up with the cold. But then you have to put up with the Democrats and mosquitoes the size of airplanes and wood ticks everywhere. And then you think, boy, did God even make Minnesota? Because it is a horrible place to live. There's that line. That's good. So yeah, come visit Minnesota. You get to deal with cold or hot, because it is sometimes skin meltingly hot up here. So if you come up here in July, you just might melt into a pile of goo. Or you can come up here during the winter and freeze to death. Or you can come up here during the spring and get all of your blood drained out by the mosquitoes or ticks. Fall is kind of nice though. You get all the leaves up here in Minnesota. You get all the colors of the rainbow on the trees. But other than that, yeah, I can't seem to come up with a good idea why to come up here and visit. Because if I had a chance, I'd get out of here. And if you live here in Minnesota, you should get out of here. Because it's horrible. That whole Explore Minnesota website, made by Minnesota, yeah, it's a load. It's a load. Nobody should come up here and explore Minnesota, because all you're going to find is horrible things. But that's just my opinion. Oh boy, you're going to be a little snot, aren't you? Speaking of snot, it is so cold out here, I got snot running down my face. I'm just trying to get this one darn piece off of here that doesn't want to go. And it's not very friendly. Yeah, I'm trying to get the vice grips down under here. Maybe just take the master cylinder off and break the line, like I said. That might just be easier. Oh, and for all you here that don't live in Minnesota, and maybe some of you that do, guess what? Our illustrious government, Democrat government, just passed a law. And that law states, now, actually, before I get into that, let me just say this. Whether you support abortion or not is not the point of this comment. The point of this comment is they just passed a law that states that a mother can abort her baby, or murder it, as I call it, can abort her baby up to the point of delivery. So if mom's sitting in the delivery room, in the doctor's office, in the hospital, and she's like, boy, this is really, really painful. I really don't want to have this kid anymore. She's in the middle of labor. Kid's on his way out of the womb. And mom says, you know what? I really don't think I want this kid anymore. That woman can now abort her baby. Just call in the abortion doctor and say, kill this thing for me, please, will you? Because I don't want to have it. That law just got passed here in Minnesota. Just another reason to not like this state. Now, that is barbaric. Now, I don't support abortion in any way because I'm a Christian. But even people that support abortion should have a problem with that. Because at 9 months and minutes and seconds before it exits the womb, it is what you would consider a viable living human. And to be able to just kill it because you don't want it, that's a problem. Enough of my rambling, but you know, that's the state we live in here, and it's just a wonderful state, you know. I guess it's just that, you know, that time when people don't want to have to deal with things, and they think, well, I'm not a fan of this being a parent kind of thing here, you know, having to change diapers and look after kids, and I just don't think I want to do it anymore. So they say, well, okay, go ahead. We'll just kill your baby here for you, and then you don't have to worry about that anymore. Of course, you know, if you live up there in Canada, they're working on creating laws to just find ways to, you know, if you just want to kill yourself, you know, here's some people that'll help you kill yourself. You know, what HE double hockey sticks is that about? What kind of person in their right mind would create laws to help other people to kill themselves? This world is 180 degrees directly from where it used to be. Where we used to have morality and love and care for one another, and we used to help each other out. Now, I remember days not too long ago where people would just help one another, be nice to one another, open doors for one another. Now everybody gives each other the bird while they're driving, cuts each other off, beats the living snot out of one another on the streets. It's just anarchy in every fashion. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, look at that, I got it. Of course, I rounded the crap out of the line there, and now I'll probably never be used again. But it's not broke. So, that leaves me with getting these two nuts off, one there and one there. You know, something else I learned about these Thunderbirds, which is pretty interesting, is the wipers. The wipers on these cars, unlike every other car on the planet made, which uses either electric or vacuum,
to run the wiper blades. Not these Thunderbirds. These particular Thunderbirds use hydraulics. So it takes hydraulic fluid from the power steering pump and runs it up under the cowl here where the wiper motor is, and uses hydraulic pressure to run the wipers. Well, that's fascinating. Never seen it before, but hey, if it works, whatever works, I guess. All right, well, we got two nuts left here to crack off, and those look like, well, maybe I can get those off in my wrench, because I think those are 9/16. And by golly, they are. Oh. Not a lot of space to work with under here. Might be able to get a wrench down under there. Might get a wrench. Let's see if this will fit. Oh, look at that, it does. Now, you're probably like, why is he banging on that chrome? He's going to ruin that chrome by banging on it. Well, look, it's rusty. And you can't ruin rusty chrome. Can't make it any worse than it already is. But before I try taking all this chrome that I showed you before over to the chromers, I have a really interesting machine here in my barn that comes from the Army, I think it was. And it was ran by the guy who made the shoes for the Army. The shoes and the boots. And it's got a big buffing polisher on it. And some other doodads and whatnots. And I think I'm going to try some polishing compound and use some polishing compound on those parts. Use it on that big machine. You'll get to see it later on once everything warms up here, because I don't plan on working on the chrome for a while. But yeah, it's just an interesting machine. Turn it on and it spins all sorts of wheels. And it's just how they used to make and polish all the shoes and boots for the military. I got it at an auction, good price. Nobody wanted it because it was so big and bulky. Nobody wanted to transport it. But me, being me, thought, well, I got a truck. I'm not worried about that. So yeah, we'll do that one day. But anyways, enough rambling. Now you got a little bit of an insight on Minnesota and this horrible, horrible state that I live in. So now that this is off, oh wow, I've never. Oh, hello, hi Dolly. Yeah. Oh, this brake booster is junk. See, this chrome shaft here is supposed to come out that way and stay in here. Sorry. Loud. Wow. Never seen that before. That means something must have been in there, maybe. Considering they just crawl right on in here and go, oh, hey, look, a warm spot. I'm going to make a nest and destroy everything. That's rodents for you. So, here is that horrible, god-awful mess. There is a retaining ring in here. I can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but just right in the entrance there, that hole is a retaining ring that has to come out to be able to get this piston out. But This is exceptionally rusty. Doesn't have a bleed valve there, and now has some broken lines. So we're going to test this. And I will do that in another quick video probably, because I don't have it set up in the basement just yet. But I wanted to get this off and show you guys and talk to you guys and let you guys know that, hey, I'm still here. I'm still working on things. I know it's kind of had some big gaps here. With my headaches and my health, not everything's always going to be flowers and rainbows and unicorns. So, you know, sometimes I have my upsides and sometimes I have my downsides, and I hope to have more upsides than downsides. And I will try to make as many videos as I can while I can. And we'll have some more chatting in the next video. Oh, sorry. Shining with flashlight. Didn't even realize that. Okay. So I'm going to close up here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, because I know I'm going to have a great rest of my night. So I think you guys should have a great rest of your night. And I will talk to you later.